Hello and welcome to our curriculum night video. I'm Coach Crump. This is my 22nd year of teaching, my third year here at Alpharetta. We're going to talk to you a little bit about AP Government today.
My name is Mrs. Lauren Ivey. This is my 9th year at AHS and my 8th year teaching AP Government. We're excited to get to know you better this year.
So the first thing we'll discuss really quickly is the curriculum that we go through for the year. We have 5 major areas, divisions that we go through. The first one is political underpinnings of American government. We talk about the philosophies, John Locke, Rousseau, Montesquieu, all the foundational thinkers, and how we adapted those governments into American government as the foundation. Then we get into political participation and ideology, which hopefully will get them interested and for them to think about their own ideologies and their own views on things as they're forming their political opinions. At the end of the semester, the last part of the first semester will cover the 3 branches, the judicial branch, executive branch, and the legislative branch. And we'll go through the interactions between the branches, the powers that they were originally given versus what they actually do today, and how those things have changed across time. Second semester, we'll go into civil rights, and the historical part of the civil rights movement is really it touched on in U.S. history, but we also teach it here in government. Because they're freshmen, they don't always have quite the background that they will as juniors in high school, so we try to fill those gaps for them a bit. But we'll talk about the application of the Bill of Rights to the states. We'll talk about the advances of the civil rights movement throughout time, the amendments that have changed and expanded voting rights and all those different things in that section. And the last one is civil liberties, where we talk about the protections that they have from the federal government and how that's different than state government protections and all those different things. We talk extensively about the 14th Amendment and then the first 8 amendments in particular as they apply to civil liberties. So if you want to know more about the actual curriculum of the course, it is available at what you see there on the screen. The AP course curriculum through AP Central is really extensive. It's an over 50-page document. It has just about everything you could ever want to know about what we go through and what we go into throughout the year. And so that's what we'll be covering this year.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the skills and essay types that students will see on the AP exam. So there's 4 types of free response questions. There's a quantitative analysis question where students interpret a chart or graph and draw conclusions about that. There's a concept application where they respond to questions based on a scenario using knowledge they learned in the course. There's a Supreme Court essay where they compare a case they've studied in class to one they're unfamiliar with. And there's an argumentative essay where they have to make an argument based on a prompt using foundational documents. In the class, we'll spend quite a bit of time practicing because this can be a difficult and new skill for students to kind of write in the way that the College Board expects. And so we'll do a lot of practice there in class and also give them some resources for extra study on their own if they would like.
One of the important things that they know and develop as high school students is the ability to manage their time well. There will be a lot less daily grades than they're used to in middle school. This is more of a college class. So we know that, as we said, we teach freshmen a college level class. A lot of schools in Georgia teach this to them as seniors when they develop those skills. So it's kind of a really quick transition for them. So they will not have the daily grades to up their average. They will not have us checking behind them all the time to make sure they're doing their work. The test itself makes sure that they're doing their work. The test that we give will go through that information. And so self-motivation and self-discipline are essential. And so they need to make sure that they are working when they've not been told directly what to do. They are given the content to master, and there are a lot of different ways for them to do it. We'll give them plenty of tips on how to do it. But it is their responsibility. And so some students really thrive with that. Some students really struggle. We do like to, as I said, give them the freedom to learn in the ways that they're most capable of learning, and for them to start to learn that for themselves without having everything quite so structured. The content is extremely structured, but the intake and reception for themselves are things where they can have a variance that helps them out a little bit. Ms. Ivey's going to talk a little bit about being open to constructive feedback, especially in essay writing.
So one of the things that we do in this course is that we give students a lot of feedback and practice, both on non-graded assignments and also on graded ones. They can kind of see what they need to improve and things like that. But it's important that students are open to constructive feedback. They shouldn't just be fixated on whatever grade they got, whether it was good or it was not as good. What's more important is the comments we're leaving and whether or not they've mastered the skills and the standards we're teaching them. So students should be open to constructive feedback and ready to improve. This can be a challenging course, but we are there to support them. And also, we're available for extra help through our RISE sessions or by email, or they can also join study groups with friends in order to practice the material as well.
So there are a lot of resources online for AP Government. This is the first test given in the country. It's one of the most taken tests in the AP set of evaluations. But there are many teachers that have YouTube exam pages or YouTube help study sessions. A lot of these were made during COVID, and they're really, really good. They're available through our plan book. They've been shared. We share a lot of videos, particularly by a guy named Carrie LaManna and another one named Jennifer Hitchcock. They're both readers during the summer on the test, and so they're really good in their essay evaluation and their instruction there, and that's always there for them to watch. There are a ton of Kahoots and other online resources for AP Gov. There are Quizlets, GimKits, all these different types of evaluations that have been made for every unit, everything they could possibly come up with. And so another difference in the AP exam than most classes they have is learning is really cumulative. They don't do unit 1, inhale, unit 1 test, exhale, and then start back on unit 2. You have to maintain and remember this material from August until May. And so that is a unique challenge for them. Most classes, even in college, are semester long. This one is both semesters, and so they need to be able to master and retain that information. That's why just worrying about your quiz grade, while it's important, you need to maintain the knowledge. And if you learn it deep enough, then you're going to retain it through the year. And the other thing is the mechanics. Many students don't maximize their scores because they do not structure their essays properly. Most of the people who do the readings will tell you that they're just not set up right. They don't address the points of the rubric. An example from last week is basically give a weakness of the Articles of Confederation and how the Constitution addressed it. Many just don't even do the second part of the question, right? And so if you're looking at 2 points there, all they're giving themselves credit for is 1, okay? And so that's the difference between a 4 and a 5, and we want them to be making 4s and 5s so they can get that college credit where they want to go. So the mechanics are important, and make sure that they're hitting those things.
So next I'm going to talk about how the AP test is structured. The national exam they take in May doesn't have an impact on the students' grades in class, but student class grades are a good predictor of how they'll score on the national exam. So the test has 55 multiple choice questions that they have 80 minutes to answer. It has the 4 different essay types that I talked about earlier, and students earning a 3, 4, or 5 have the potential to earn college credit, maybe even graduate from college early if they're able to exempt out of enough classes. In class, we try to mimic this through tests that are 2 days. So the first day of the test will be 1 or 2 short answer FRQ questions, the ones I talked about earlier, the quantitative analysis, the SCOTUS, the concept application, or the argumentative essay. And then the second day will be multiple choice. At the beginning of the year, there's not as many time constraints, and as the year goes on, we'll work on being able to answer the questions more quickly. But it's important that students learn how to do it without the pressure of time until we start kind of refining it and learning how to answer questions correctly quicker.
So that concludes the basic information. If you'd like to get in touch with Ms. Ivey and I, all of our information is there. And so we try to get back to you as quickly as we can. And so if you have any questions, please reach out to us. But we're looking forward to a great year with your students.
Thank you so much. Hope you have a great curriculum night. Reach out anytime. Take care.